Hey guys, welcome to Blender 101, and this is going to be transitioning, from other tools, and they want to just, pick up Blender and, start doing some stuff. Or for someone that, doesn't have any clue how to do stuff with Blender, how to start with anything. So this is going to be kind of like that. A little basic, so I'll try to keep it as simple as possible, right? So first of all, when you open Blender, you're going to have something like this, and it's going to ask you for a few things. If you go to here, you have the languages and the shortcuts. You have, basic stuff from Blender, and it has industry compatible. It must be, those are like from other software, people that use, from other different softwares. That's what it is. And the select with, you can, right or left click. I usually go with left click because that's kind of like what I'm used to. And space bar, what's going to happen? This is like what's going to happen when you hit the space bar. In this case, I usually go for tools. I go for tools because, it brings a few different tools that I like to use. So yeah, the play is going to be like, it's going to play the animation or this bar right here, the playback bar, whatever you want to call it, the timeline. Yeah, this right here. All right, so, or the search is just going to bring a menu for you to search some modifier or an action or whatever. So that's what it is. And load 3.1 setting. This is basically load. It's going to load whatever previous version you have installed from Blender here. So it's going to load those settings. I usually don't do that, just in case if it's a fresh Blender. I like to start from scratch just in case I don't want to bring any bugs or anything like that, any like interference with the new Blender. So I like to keep it clean as possible. And once you have all of that, all the stuff you want to change, just hit save new settings. All right. And we're going to have something like this. And you don't have to do anything here. Just, click over here and that's it. But let me just go to the splash screen. If you go like 2D animation, school team, VFX, you can just select one of those and it's going to take you straight to that kind of, you can also do that over here. Go to file, new, and it's going to be the same menu right there, right? So I forgot to do something here and I'm going to do it right now. And it's about the themes. If you go to edit preferences and it's go to themes, I like to use the deep gray. I actually have one personalized that I created, but for now, for this tutorial, we're gonna start like this. All right. And sometimes you're gonna see that my UI is gonna change a little bit, and it's because that's what I usually work with. But I'm gonna show you how to do that, in next video. So that's gonna be a good start for you. All right. So first of all, in this first video, I'm just gonna show you around. I just want to show you where to find a few things, like an overview. But we're not gonna go deep into it because those are gonna be like specific videos that I want to create. Because otherwise you're going to be here for a long time and we don't want that. I appreciate people's time, so this is going to be like that. All right, so first of all, let's go to File. And if you go to the logo over here, it's a basic stuff, that you can find here. Nothing, for like a beginner, you probably don't care about any of that, like more advanced stuff or some things that you're going to discover, the more you work with Blender. So let's go with File, and you want to save as a copy. This is right here. You go to File, all the the regular stuff. Open files. We're gonna talk about what this is, link or append. What you probably, if you're coming from other software, you might have an idea what this is, but we're gonna leave it like that. Data previews, import, all these stuff that you can actually import in Blender, or the export. Same thing, what can you, export from Blender. External data, this is super useful here. So we're gonna talk about this in separate videos. Cleanup and default, and I'm gonna talk about this in the next video probably, and what it is and how to use it. This is super, I use it, I kind of used it once in Blender, but but the use is super good. It's a really good thing. So if you go to edit, there's not a lot of things to find here. Just, for example, like the batch rename or rename active item or lock object, modes. I'm going to talk about this later, what it is, but it's a good thing. And let's go to preferences. Obviously, you're going to have a lot of settings here, a lot of like things to select or modify or, to like install add-ins and stuff like that, or activate some of these add-ons right now. I don't have it. Okay, this is a fresh Blender. I deactivated, I made a copy of my settings just to show you how it looks, but usually I have a ton crap of these add-ons selected, and I'm gonna show you, the basics that I select all the time, like extra objects and stuff like that. The like F2, that's a must to have, or edit mesh tools, those are really good, or auto mirror, or things like that. It's a really cool stuff that it comes with Blender that you can do that. And the key map, all the keys that you have, key bindings that you use, is gonna be right here. System information. This is basically where you go to select your graphic card or whatever. And like usually I would just go with optics and select just a graphic card, and then after you do any sort of change, don't forget to come over here and save it. Or you can have this deactivated or not. By default it's selected, but you never know. And I'm gonna go to file path. Like if you want to have temporary files saved, just in case you don't want to miss. If your Blender crashes for whatever, it's highly unlikely, but in case you have a very heavy scene, it might crash. Obviously, it's a lot of stuff going on in your scene probably, and it's gonna crash. You can just give a direction here where you want the files to be saved, and if you go to save and load, it's gonna say auto save right here, and you can say every 2 minutes you're gonna create a copy in this location that you have right here. All right. And remember, now Blender has the asset manager, you can say, something like that. And this is going to be the library where you're going to put the locations of the files. Also, we're going to talk about this. But if you go to my channel and look for some stuff there, you're going to see that there's information there about this. All right, let's keep moving. Render, obviously, rendering stuff, render image, animation, all the good stuff. Window, this is just a bunch of stuff that we're going to talk about it later. Help, obviously, what it is, helper stuff. And this right here, all like preset up for you. You can either use them or you create your own, like sculpting, like UV editing, like texture painting. Those are already pre-designed, but you can create your own. Just delete those and just create your own. They already come like with the windows already set up for you, so in the best ways possible, I guess you can say that. The rendering is going to be the result for your final rendering. Composition, compositing is basically where you're going to composite stuff, make your scenes a little cooler, effects and stuff like that. Now you got geometry nodes and scripting right here, and I'm going to show you later how to activate the asset manager. But yeah. All right, I usually go to layout and I have 2 extra right here, and I take off, I'll say animation, rendering, and maybe geometry nodes for now. Those 3 I'll take it out, and I'll leave the scripting because I do some stuff like that. I create my add-ons and stuff like that. But yeah, you can just create your own stuff right here if you click right there. So I'm going to talk about that later. All right, if you want to modify the shading in your Viewport, this is where you go. And a bunch of overlays in the scene. If you turn this off, it's going to basically turn off everything. And this one here is going to have those helpers right here. We're going to talk about that later on. And we're going to talk about like mobility and stuff like that, how to move in Blender, that kind of stuff. But it's kind of like an unspoken thing that the middle mouse button is, to move around the scene, to basically to rotate. If you press shift, it's going to help you to pan around. And if you press control and middle mouse button, is going to basically do this kind of zoom thing, and scrolling in the middle mouse button is going to basically do this kind of thing, also zoom in, that kind of stuff. And let's see, we're going to talk about the selection types and the handles, that kind of stuff, how to move the gizmo, I'll just say that. And there's a couple options here, that to help you to how to create objects and stuff like that. This is pretty cool. It's a new thing that, it's in Blender, so we're going to talk about it. This is the timeline right here where you're going to create your animations and stuff like that. This is pretty cool. It's if you're into that, that's going to be your thing. Like I said, if you go to animation, you're going to have this, set up for you to animate. And I usually just have it hide it because I usually don't do any animation. So I like to have my UI very economically set up so I can have more real estate for modeling and stuff. And this here, the outline is basically what you have. You're going to have your objects, what you're going to organize your scene using collections. And there's a bunch of all of these stuff right here. We're going to talk about that independently, one by one. So you have an idea of what's going on, where to find like the rendering engines, how to format your scene, or where to find the files once you like animations and stuff like that, the render layers or whatever, like things that you're gonna discover little by little. They are super important, but you'll see that my best advice would be like don't rush it, just go little by little, and you'll see that you can adapt real quick to the changes. All right, so now that we have that, I guess the next videos will be like going a little more specific into what all of that stuff is and how to find things, because it happens to me when I change to Maya, that I was like, how can I do this? How can I add a modifier here, or where can I duplicate this, or how can I? We're gonna see all of that, and we're already 11 minutes in, so I'm just gonna shut up right now. I'm gonna stop right here. And I'll see you in the next video. We're gonna go in depth on how to modify the UI and how to create something that that is more your style or whatever you want to call it. All right. I'm gonna stop right here, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.